In this video, we'll be discussing the receiving of material purchase orders. In order to receive a raw material, you need to be in the transaction section of the system and in the materials part. Then I'm double clicking on material PO receiving, then receive PO. And this is the screen that we get in order to perform this transaction. We have a posting date and a receiving date. The posting date is the date that controls the transaction on the general ledger, and the receiving date is the date that controls the actual update of inventory, the date that we update the inventory on the system. Most of the time they are the same, 99% of the time they are the same, unless if they are instructed to change this date, the posting date, especially by your accountant. We have two types of receiving. We either receive based on a purchase order number, or we receive based on a pre-created shipment. So we're going to start with receiving a shipment. This is very similar, by the way, to the receiving that we discussed earlier for finished goods purchase orders. Once you choose to receive by shipment, system actually moves into this location and waits for you to select the shipment number. If you know the number, you can always type it. If not, you can always click on that small button to open the list. And now I'm choosing this shipment number. When you do this, the system gives you the information on top where you can see that it was entered on this day, estimated receiving day is this much, and here is the carton numbers, airway pill, and so on, shipment information in general. And system will automatically import everything that was on that shipment. So we see on this shipment we have two PO numbers, 15 and 17, and here is the details of them. Right, and the system is going to automatically assume that you are receiving the entire quantity that you specified on the shipment. Now it happens that you might, at the time of inspecting the merchandise, that you might have any kind of problems or discrepancies or wrong counts, things of that sort. So if it happened that you're accepting the entire thing as is and it's accurate numbers, the only thing that you have to do is just simply save, and it will update the inventory for you. If you know, for example, that we have a problem with the count of this item, I'm just going to simply highlight it, then use my mouse to click on line quality. Then you simply do all of your adjustments in there. Like, for example, if I say we're planning to receive 10 pieces, let's say that I am receiving 8 only, and we discovered that we didn't get the others, so it's going to remain 2 will remain open on the balance of this purchase order. Or let's say that, and we decided that we're not going to get them, so then I'm going to put any cancellation. If there is any second or damaged qualities, I will put them in this line. And once you do this, you will be able to specify a second or a damaged fabric number, exactly as we discussed on the style purchase orders section, and so on. So the most important thing is, don't leave this screen unless you set the numbers right. If there is any cancellation, make sure that you specify that. If there is any seconds or damages, make sure that you specify that and tell the system that in order to close your PO. If it happened that any of the lines didn't actually come, you can always highlight it and click on remove. The system is going to update the inventory based on the cost that you put on each line at the time when you created the purchase order, like the purchase price, the duty charges, the taxes, the freight, and so on. So when you created the purchase order, you've used some numbers to indicate the cost, and these are the numbers that we're going to use to update your inventory with. But we still give you also the ability to edit the cost of each item upon landing. So you have the ability to highlight any of the items and you click on landed cost. Then here is the breakdown of the cost, and here is how you can view it. And if your setup is open to actually allow you to edit the cost upon receiving, you will be able to change those numbers. Once you get the numbers right, once you update the numbers, Aria will use the new landed cost at the time of receiving. And the only thing that we have to do right now is just simply click on the save button after we adjust and check on our numbers. Aria will give you the ability to print a receipts log before posting the transaction, which is a regular report that you can view even if you wish without printing. It will give you the list of all transactions that you've received, what fabric number, what who's the vendor, what PO number, what was the quantity that was received, and so on. If everything is acceptable for you on that log, you can simply just post it. Or if you're sure, of course, you don't have to print the report every time. If you're sure that the numbers are correct, then you're okay to save. So the other type of receiving is simply based on a purchase order number. As you notice, the shipment included multiple lines, multiple POs on the same shipment. You have the ability here to receive simply by PO, which is going to be convenient if you, especially if you're buying from a supplier who's close by, and you do not have to actually create a shipment and all of that stuff. It works exactly the same way. The only difference between them that is, instead of choosing receive by shipment over here, I'm going to receive based on a purchase order number. When that happens, Aria of course is not going to ask you for a shipment information. Instead, it's going to ask you for a PO number. So I'm just going to click on this button and I'm going to choose number 16 over here. Then we get this message. Do you want to select the PO lines with their quantity manually line by line, or automatically all lines? Difference between them is the following. If I select automatically, the system is going to import all lines on this purchase order and assume that you are going to receive the entire inventory. Still, entire quantity on this purchase order. Still, you will be able to modify and edit all of those lines prior to saving it into your system. Manually, it will simply open a list for you with all raw materials that was on that PO, so you get to choose one by one. So if I do automatically, let's try both scenario. I'm going to start with automatically. As you can see, the system got me all the items on that PO and automatically assumed that I am putting the original in the stock, meaning whatever I budgeted to order or whatever I ordered, it's actually going into be inventory. So this is the difference between them. So this is the automatic. Let's try the manual. I'm gonna say received by PO number, and let's select same order 16, and I'm gonna say manual. This is what happens now. When you do this, the system is going to open for you the list and tells you here is what you ordered. Which line are you receiving? I can highlight simply the white. Right. As you can see, also the system here did not assume that you are receiving this this ordered quantity. So in this situation, you have to do everything manual. You're going to click on line quality and you're going to say, okay, I'm receiving first quality 80 only out of this line. Then you're going to say new. It's going to ask you for the PO number again, but it assumes that it's the same PO, so I'm going to bypass it by pressing enter. I'm going to choose the black and I'm going to say line quantity. Let's say you receive the entire thing, and so on. And once I am done, I would click on save in order to save my information. And know that also all functionality related to changing the landed cost or changing any of those information is also available. So whether you're receiving by a PO or you're receiving by a shipment, the most important part is to make sure that you're selecting the correct shipment number, purchase order numbers, and knowing that you're able to edit the details of what you're receiving, and you're able to edit the landed cost. You're also able to even edit the location of where are you planning to receive the merchandise. And know that Aria actually maintains inventory for each item color at warehouse level. Once I'm done, I'm just going to simply click on the save button. I get the chance to print the report. If not, I'm sure that the numbers are okay. I will just simply hit the post